Welcome back to Steele and Vance. Jody Vance, Linda Steele here with you, and we have to talk about the thing that actually broke on the day of our first ever show, the passing of Queen Elizabeth, that has been very forward, very prevalent in the week since.
Are you suggesting that it's been wall-to-wall coverage pretty much?
I am suggesting that it has been wall-to-wall coverage and meaningful in many ways, but also for many who poof, there you go. You get a holiday on Monday. We're going, what? Childcare? Schools are closed?
Let's get to that in a second. First of all, let's talk about the Queen. I was surprised. Well, not really surprised. She was 96. Right. So it was a big story that she had passed away. And, you know, it's sad for her family. And I think she did a really lovely job. But at the end of the day, I don't really have a lot of attachment to the royal family. Right. And in fact, according to Leger, they did a poll, 77% of Canadians said, yeah, I really have no attachment to the monarchy at all. So I kind of felt bad. My husband kept saying, oh my God, there's more coverage of the Queen. It's been days and days and days of coverage, and she deserves it. And I'm not saying, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Right. I'm just saying, there's been a ton of coverage of the Queen, and we're going to see a ton more because, as you've seen, you know, video of the specially built vehicle that's carrying her casket. Look at that.
Some of the imagery here and learning from this, watching, we'll get to Lisa LaFlamme's coverage of this, really great, obviously, and Adrian Arsenault at CBC as well on location and watching and soaking it up. I am a watcher. I don't like the clickbait bit. I don't want to talk about how, you know, William and Harry are getting along, or Meghan and Kate and all that. I want to honor Queen Elizabeth here, and she created this vehicle. She made it this way with the big windows, with the lighting inside. She knew that her time would eventually come, obviously, and all of this was planned prior to.
I'm going to die someday, so I will plan my own vehicle to carry my casket.
Every detail. Every detail she did.
Good on her. I'm the opposite from you. I actually am more interested in seeing what is Charles doing and Camilla, and they're out there glad-handing, and he was trying to sign something with his fountain pen that leaked all over his hand, and he was angry. And oh, look, there's Meghan and Harry, and what are they dressed like, and how come Harry's not wearing his military garb? And that to me was more interesting because I'm kind of more of the Diana era of royals. I found that really interesting. And the Queen, like I said, respect to her. Yeah. For 70 years, she did one heck of a job, you know, representing. So I don't mean to be disrespectful.
You're not being disrespectful.
When the Prime Minister came out the other day and said, yeah, suddenly we're going to drop this national holiday on all of Canada, people were like, what?
Some people are like, yes, long weekend, going to take the rest of the week off.
If you were a federal worker.
Well, and also some parents who don't worry about childcare would be able to go, oh, and in Vancouver, it's a Pro D day on the Friday. So all of a sudden my kid only has to go to school for 3 days. Maybe I pull the kids out of school and Disneyland's cheaper at this time of year. Like, there are people that can make that work. But as somebody who was a single mother for a number of years, that would have been a real bombshell in my household. Like, and because my childcare would have gotten the day off, probably, or could at least have said, I'm taking the day. What does that mean for me? Because I got all kinds of emails in my freelance work. We're not taking the holiday on Monday, by the way. So when you're a parent who has to figure it out suddenly, there's a lot of stress involved. I saw Kevin McLeod, who works in North Vancouver in the medical side. He's a doctor. And he's like, our facilities will be open and we will be working on that day. Like,
here's the thing, though. The funeral, the Queen's funeral, is going to be at 3 o'clock in the morning Pacific. So unless you're planning on getting up early in the morning to watch because you're really, really engaged and want to see it live, then maybe you need to have the next day off. But most of us can just get up in the morning and see wall-to-wall coverage. It's going to look something like this.
But look at
all
these people.
Day long.
But look, Linda,
but this is London.
I know, but there are people who would line up for 7 hours just to nod at her.
Would you have done that?
Me personally, no, but I know people who would. I know people who flew across. Amanda Bates is one who comes to mind. She's a Brit who lives here. She's married to George Affleck. Yeah. She will be glued to it.
I'm not saying there won't be people glued.
I'm not arguing that you would. I'm just giving you my perspective
do
of
we
those.
need to have a day off?
Amanda would say yes.
Well, that's
I would say not necessarily.
We did a poll on this.
Okay, let's see the poll.
And I'll tell you what, it got tons of traction because people had a lot of opinions. So I'm saying, okay, Monday, federal holiday, 300,000 public servants. They're estimating the cost to the economy is up to $4 billion.
Yeah.
Schools are going to be closed. Parents are scrambling. Do you support this idea? Check out these results. Wow, almost 3,000 votes, 60%. That's a pretty solid majority saying, nope. So I think a lot of people feel like I do. I also did receive a ton of tweets from people who said, she's the queen. She was our queen for 70 years. She deserves a day, and we as Canadians should have the opportunity to honor her. So I'm not saying, oh, we gotta not have the day off.
I'm going to jump in
really
with something different than the queen, but it's an analogy I brought to Twitter where somebody said, my kids are so young, they wouldn't even know, and they're just going to have a day off, and I'm not going to be able to work, and da-da-da. But I remember the king, but not a royal king, but Elvis. I remember the day that Elvis died. I was 9 years old, and my mom, I think it was the first time I really saw my mom cry for a reason that didn't make sense to me. I'm like, oh, you're crying about what? And she told me about Elvis, and we listened to his music, and we
Did you
talked
get the day
about,
off?
No, but it was a big part of that day for me, and where there are people that feel it's really important to have that. Why do we have the day off, Mom?
Yeah.
Because of this. So I'm just trying to show, because personally, do I need a day off for the Queen's mourning on the day of her actual funeral? I do not.
Let me just
but
say
I know
quickly,
people who definitely do.
Lisa LaFlamme has showed up at
Yes.
City TV and is doing royal commentary, and we're like, yes, Lisa, you rock. Coming up next on Steel Events, though, are you being forced to return to the office? Because a lot of British Columbians are this fall. That's causing stress. Like, what am I going to wear after nearly 3 years of sweatpants at home?
Go to Twist Fashions. Sharon will help. Sharon will help you for sure.
Digging into that next.